Hello, my name is Dr. MarkAlain Dery. I'm the Medical Director of Infectious Diseases and Chief Innovation Officer for Access Health Louisiana. We are the largest Medicaid providing clinic system in Louisiana. I'm also the co-chair of the ACOI Infectious Diseases Subspecialty section. Along with the leadership of the ACOI, we want to thank you for all that you're doing as we face this unprecedented time in medicine fighting the COVID-19 virus. Moving forward, in conjunction with the ACOI, we want to share with you some information as it becomes available, as well as some of the bright spots we're seeing so that we all can feel some hope in these trying times. And here is some hopeful news. The curve is continuing to flatten as social distancing measures are continuing. Certain countries in Europe, as well as here in the US and New York, are starting to see the flattening trend. The head of Italy's Civil Protection Agency on Sunday said that there were 525 deaths in the 24-hour period since Saturday evening. And that's the lowest such figure in the country since 427 deaths were registered back in March 19th. Here in the US, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo said on Monday that the curve of the coronavirus outbreak in New York State may be flattening. Cuomo said that 599 more people had died in the state, a number that was similar with that of the previous day. So we're watching that very carefully. Back in Europe, Spain, which also had been hit very hard, recorded deaths down for a fourth straight day, but still logged 637 fatalities. So we are hopeful that our social distancing measures are working. But in the US, we are hearing from our local authority, or from our healthcare authorities. And the Surgeon General did give us this sobering statement that this week is going to be the hardest and saddest week of most American lives. Our Pearl Harbor, or our 9/11 moment. And that's not going to be localized, and it's going to be all over the country. And this past Saturday, Dr. Deborah Birx, the coordinator of the White House Coronavirus Task Force, said she expected that the death toll to rise quickly in the coming week, with particular attention to three hotspots where there are a large number of confirmed cases: New York, Detroit, and my home state here of Louisiana, and particularly here in New Orleans. There are clusters of cases hitting certain communities and cities throughout our country, and as we are seeing now that there are other communities where there isn't much of an outbreak yet. This means that significant portions of vulnerable populations, those who are not immune to the virus, could be exposed to additional waves of the disease as the virus shifts through different parts of the country. Dr. Birx said our behaviors right now, more than a vaccine, is what will affect the trajectory of this virus. And there is no magic bullet, there is no magic vaccine, what she said. It's just behaviors. And there's so many projection models out there. According to a Harvard epidemiologist, 40 to 70% of the world's populations could become infected with this virus. And of those, 1% will die. And here in the US, there are some that are projecting 2 million American deaths, and that's if we do nothing. We have been doing social distancing. All in all, we can reasonably conclude what this means is that we need a serious national stay-at-home order for all 50 states, for all territories. And that includes wearing face masks when we're out as a mandate. And if we don't want to risk continuing waves of virus percolating through our communities, this is what we need to do. Again, Italy, Spain, and other countries that shut down with a national stay-at-home imperative are seeing their numbers decline. To date, the US has had more of a fragmented approach that, as a nation, may lead our country to experiencing several waves of this outbreak. And this potential wave is the danger that I see. I mean, it's natural for us to want to see an end date to this current social distancing way of life, but we will only have an end date if we are in unison on staying at home and stopping community spread, but all over the country. This means that we need to hunker down in place for, I don't know, possibly 2 cycles of 14 days with masks when you go out. And I call this the Band-Aid being ripped off approach. The Band-Aid being ripped off quickly approach. If not, we're going to all go through our own cycles, right? Where the Band-Aid is ultimately pulled off slowly, thereby dragging this on in some communities as they open up and they see their cases decrease, and then others see an increase resulting in communities opening up and then closing down as case clusters increase and decrease, which could happen if individuals traveling from one state to the next risk infecting a population that has yet to have any immunity. What happens then is that you have new cases starting up, which means communities then close down, and then they open up again, and then potentially closing down, and then you can see a cycle starting. What we need to do is we need to rip the Band-Aid off quickly, and this means a national stay-at-home mandate with masks or face coverings for when we leave the house. All this points to why it's important to ultimately have antibody tests, and I'll talk more about that later this week, and particularly with the problems that we are having with a sophisticated enough antibody test to discern between the regular common cold causing coronavirus and the more lethal COVID-19 virus. In the interim, please stay on the lookout for our regular updates. And to read more from the sources that I used here in this video report, please go to acoi.org/COVID-19. Together with the ACOI, we will help you have the latest information to help you respond to your patients and stay on top of this crisis. And as always, please feel free to reach out to me anytime at madery@mac.com. Please stay safe. We can do this together.